Hey everybody, thanks for joining us again for another one. This is American Coin and Currency live podcast. Today we're going to be talking about the day in the life as a coin dealer. We're going to be touching on how our ins and outs, appraisals, how do you source the coins, do you buy this, lot from an estate to, analyze it a little bit more.
Yep.
John.
How are you, Dustin?
Great.
Good. Just trying to, my camera's giving me a little issue here, so I'm just trying to work on that real quick. It's not internet or anything like that.
I think my internet's messed up too. What is going on? Okay, internet's
Right. There we go.
Not in the favor today.
What do you do? No, I was just looking at the mint releases. The price, it's pretty crazy what's happening with the prices here. Especially with these Liberty Bells that are coming out.
Okay, I think I'm back. Okay. Anyways, thanks everybody for joining us. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit the post notification to get notifications from us for our weekly podcast, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. This week we're going to be touching on what's going on with the coin dealing and how do you get started and what do you look for. My name is Dustin Lee, social media lead, head of socials here, American Coin Currency. John Mady, CEO, founder of American Coin Currency. How's it going?
It's going great. I took a week off last week, which that was my first week-long vacation since my honeymoon 25 years ago. So it was kind of weird being away from the office for so long, but it was needed. Got to take a break once in a while. And so now it's just recouping because I went over to Hawaii and still getting used to the time change, and that's by probably tomorrow, the next day, everything will be back in order. But the coins never stop flowing, business doesn't stop, and the mint is releasing some. I'd like to look at these the Liberty Bells that are coming out here. They are dropping July 16th. So you have the 1 ounce, the half-ounce gold, 1 ounce gold, half-ounce gold, and a half-ounce silver. And with each of them, there's only 2,026 pieces. So I received pricing yesterday on these, and I'm not sure how to feel about it. The 1 ounce gold from the mint, they are charging their price is $19,600 for the 1 ounce gold.
Wow.
Again, only 2026 being created. So that's an anomaly. You know, that's the most I've ever seen of a product from the mint being, you know, cost wise. And so I'm deliberating on, you know, we're not going to be able to get many. If you know the 1 ounce, maybe a couple at most, a half ounce, same thing. I'm more interested in the silver, even though the mintage is a lot less. The half ounce silver is much more palatable for many customers. But even so, the half ounce silver is $750 from the mint. That's the mint pricing. Um,
Wow.
so the other thing is that when, you know, typically when we get coins, like we've discussed many times, you know, we pride ourselves in being able to offer advanced release in most, and if not all, coins that are being released by the mint. In this case, these are not part of the advanced release program.
Mm.
So, and also I'm not guaranteed 70s. So there's, you know, it's a perfect topic of, you know, life of a coin dealer. This is one of the things that coin dealers have to work through. Like, okay, I don't know, you know, if I'm not guaranteed 70s, you know, what are they going to be worth? Am
That's
I going to be
true.
getting 68s, 69s?
Mm.
You know, I don't think I'm going to be getting 68s, but you know, 69s, I guess would be okay. 70s are going to be highly sought after. Um, and then again, it's just like, you know, if the mint is charging 19,600 for the 1 ounce, you know, our cost is a few thousand more than that. I
Mm.
saw yesterday someone trying to do a pre-sale for the 1 ounce Liberty Bell on eBay in you know, with mint packaging, not graded. They're asking 70,000 for it, which is
That's insane.
kind of crazy. But so this is just one of many things that a dealer has to constantly consider is like as new, you know, new releases come out, how many should we buy? Because once we commit, we commit. We have to take them and we have to pay for them. And you know, eventually we have to sell them. So, you know, you don't want to be left over with too much inventory in the business. It's called shelf wealth. And you know, over the years you just accumulate it from previous issues that just, you know, didn't sell well or whatever. You know, maybe we over ordered and so
Mm.
there's inventory left over. So it's a constant calculation that has to be formulated, as well as you know, you have to have the means to buy collections when opportunities present themselves. And you know, I've been in the position before where I've had, you know, just so much money out there on inventory that's in house, hasn't been sold yet, and I've missed out before on collections that I would just, you know, it would just spread the company too thin, and you know, don't like taking that kind of risk. Um, so that's just one of many factors that a dealer has to constantly consider. And so yeah, it's not only the new stuff, it's, you know, buying the old stuff, people that have that are selling collections, you know, people that inherit collections that just want to flip them for the cash. And so I turn down, and I, you know, get a lot of calls on the regular every day, in fact. And I turn down a lot of stuff just because I know that it's just, you know, it's going to sit. It's not it's not product that people necessarily are going to be looking for,
Mm.
or you know, it's just time consuming to look through all the coins that some people have and try to find, you know, pieces that are actually worth grading. We've talked about this before, you know,
Yeah.
where you kind of, after doing this for years, you can kind of get a feel for if there's going to be things of value in a collection just by the way that it was stored, the packaging, things of
Mm.
that nature, as opposed to someone bringing in, you know, Ziploc bags filled with coins that are just, you know, heavily circulated coins.
Dang.
That's just junk for the most part.
Mm.
And it's just too time consuming to go through those kinds of things. So Yeah, I'm really intrigued by these Liberty Bells, but we also have the Best of the Mint series is the next allocation is the 1916 Standing Liberty $quarter
Yeah.
gold and silver medal set. So that's going to be I think that's a great one. You know, the we still have, I believe, a couple of the Mercury dime sets.
Hmm.
Those are 10th ounce gold, and when we purchased those, gold was substantially higher. So now that gold's come down, the mint has, it looks like they've repriced this a little bit, and so you get a quarter ounce gold piece, which is the Standing Liberty quarter, which is gold, and then the accompanying metal, 1 ounce silver medal. That's priced at a good, you know, price point. The mint has them coming out at 1540, 1540 is the mint's price. So you know, once you get them graded and they're advanced release and you know, signed pcgs, you know, there are going to be a few dollars more, but of course we always sell the best of the best, so you kind of get what you pay for, you know. So lots
Yes.
to consider on a daily basis.
Yeah, there's some good takes there when you're talking about having inventory sit. Because I can relate to that, you know, with having e-commerce businesses, like products that sit for, you know, a duration, some time. And you don't want that. You want working capital, and having, you know, too much product sitting per se in comparison to having, you know, liquid cash to make deals and opportunities that present themselves on the daily, of course, um, might not be as viable for certain, you know, coin dealers, or certain, you know, small dealers that might not have the capital to, you know, purchase large quantity, you know, estates, or you know,
Yep,
coins from the mint, you know, like that, where we have that capital. We're able to purchase quantities of various products, but also still have, you know, money to purchase more, like estates, or you know, things that get released. Um, I'm sure there is some bottlenecks and time consumption, but maybe like a small dealer might be more interested, or have the, you know, I guess, time to process some of those smaller deals that you pass on. Um, where
absolutely.
so at, like, you know, I guess, an early stage of where you're at, like as a coin dealer, some of these deals were, you know, better opportunities at the time. Obviously, there's more now, but like, were you did you run into those kind of, you know, like where you had a bunch of inventory sitting, or um you know, what was that like early on in your career?
Oh yeah, early on, we would just, you know, we would buy smaller quantities of products,
Mm,
and but you still sometimes get stuck
hmm.
with things. And so typically what we would do is at the end of the year, we call certain customers that, you know, buy throughout the year,
Hmm.
and give them just a fantastic deal on, you know, a bulk purchase of all different kinds of products, basically, you know, right around cost. And so they're happy, they get a fantastic deal, and we unload some old inventory. I mean, I still have, you know, I still have some type, I was looking the other day, I still have some type 1 silver eagles from 2021 that are, you know, sitting in the one of the safes, which you know, I could move them. Like we could move them. I can't even tell you how many products we have here that we've just purchased over time that are, you know, 1 ounce silver coins, or medals or commemoratives from the mint, not only the U.S. mint but the Canadian mint, that are in original packaging as well as graded. And part of me is like, you know, should I put them in our inventory for my coworkers to sell, or put them up online to sell on one of our platforms at a discount? But you know, that there's a huge part of me that is just like, silver is gonna even though we've seen a drop from where we hit, a few months ago, I'm
Mhm.
still like, I think that would be a mistake. I think within a couple of years, I'd be kicking myself if I unloaded, just a few 100 pounds of silver at today's prices. Um, so that's what keeps me. Plus, I'm luckily we're in a position, like you said earlier, where we don't, typically I just don't need to do that,
Right,
and
exactly.
that's a nice position to be in, to be like Scrooge McDuck and just have your piles that you can dive into.
Yeah, that's a good take. Yeah, because I'm in that, I was in that position for e-commerce. I'm still like that, where I can have products just sit for a long time, knowing that the price of something is going to go up, or the same as coins. Coins, obviously there's only a finite population, and having these key dates are going to be valuable, and then like some of these type ones, I mean, essentially they're becoming, you know I don't know the population of this one specifically, but like in a sense, those become rare as well, or wanted to be a part of an album, some type of collection that's a missing, coin. So I mean, eventually that's going to be something people are going to sought out. So I mean, it's just the long game when it comes to a lot of things, collecting in general. Um, knowing that you don't have to sell these, immediately. So maybe it's a good position to be in.
Well, yeah, I
Um,
mean, I still have silver. I have a lot of silver that's like in roll, like that I bought years ago. That's just like not necessarily junk silver, but circulated, like dimes, quarters, half dollars, Morgan and Peace dollars. And I purchased that at like between $13 and $20 an ounce, you know,
wow.
and just never sold it, just because. And I still believe, like I said, that we're going to see. I think we're going to, if as long as this technological boom continues, uh, which seems like there's going to be no slowing down, the
Mhm.
need for silver is there. I mean, you have to have it, and then to an extent, gold. Gold is held steady. It's built a new support at right around 4,000, 4,100, which is great to see. And so I think we're going to start seeing some legs up, and especially as the value of the dollar continues to deteriorate. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just common to me. It's just common sense. It doesn't happen necessarily as fast as people would like, but what does, right? It's just, you just have to have patience and have belief in what you're doing, and that'll get you far. So that's the plan, and we're just going to continue offering fantastic products to our customers that at great prices with fantastic customer service, and we get a lot of repeat business that way. And so yeah, it's just, but this year in particular, like we've said many times, I mean, we're already more than halfway through the year.
Mhm.
The coins that are coming out this year are just, they are fantastic, and it's just a once in a lifetime opportunity to be able to get these coins, like the 10 coin sets that we sold out of those, and I was able to get some more of the limited
Wow.
edition 10 coin sets. And I mean, that's in that set is the 2026 penny or cent, if you want to use that word. That's the only way to get that. They stopped
Mhm.
production of the pennies in 2025, as you know. So, and that's just one of the reasons why people should own that 10 coin set. All the coins are dual dated. Some have privy marks, and so
Mhm.
that's a set that in a few years is going to be very valuable. And I can reference other sets that have performed really well in the past, over the past few years, that were similar in that they were just limited edition sets with certain qualities that made them, just increase in value over the years. So I see the same with that. And so, these are things that as a coin dealer, we're constantly doing the calculus on. And this weekend is the fun show in Orlando, so
Yeah.
I'm going to be I'm going to be heading up there
Oh,
tomorrow
nice.
afternoon, and always, going to go meet some colleagues, and always, bring money to buy some coins, and you never know what you might run into there. So
Hmm.
it's that excited about that as well.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, I've been promoting the fun show quite a bit this last week or this week. Um, yeah, that's going to be a big one. I know they have another one in winter or something like that.
Yeah,
There's
the
two.
winter's the big one. The summer is kind of smaller,
Hmm.
smaller attendance, but the winter fun show is everyone goes to it. All the major dealers.
Hmm. Yeah, that's sounds like it's going to be at least decent to see what's going on and get kind of like a see what others are focused on, because I mean not everyone has the same type of coins we have, and it's
Yep.
huge difference. I've seen the access.
Yeah.
There's only like a handful of people I've seen online, even the people I've called around just to see what they have, and nobody has advanced released or signatures. Those two are pretty different compared to most people's collections or what they're selling. Some of these dealers.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, big difference on what we have. So give us a call, 561-310-8341. Uniquecoins@gmail.com website, Linktree. You can find us all our links on Linktree, American Coin, ACC, American CC on eBay. Find us in Google, Yelp, and Apple Maps. So we're gonna get in here before we're almost about halfway there, but we're gonna touch in with our sponsor for the week. This is Fast Checks. Appreciate Fast Checks being with us. If you guys haven't checked out Fast Checks, you're tired of electronic checks are slow, and not electronic checks, but regular checks are slow. Obviously, electronic checks are better. But if you haven't, started accepting online payments or checks or in general, which in this case, e-checks are way better. You can receive them in under a minute. All you gotta do is just register, check, create your check, and print it out. So you don't have to send it in the mail, which takes several days. And
Yep.
there's no more chasing payments or waiting several days for an envelope to show up. Obviously, Fast Checks IO is a much better way to go about it. Um, every check runs through routing number verification and bank account verification, so the funds are real. So you make sure that obviously there's going to be some verification behind that before you deposit, and it works right in your browser or app in your phone. Deposits are instant and paperless using fastchecks.io. Best of all, you can try it free today, no credit card needed. Paid plans start around $30 a month with 20, I think it's 20 checks. But there's offers for unlimited checks available for high volume businesses. So if you guys don't want to have to deal with snail mail and eat in regular checks, and wanting to make a fast deal right now, hassle free, get a hold of fastchecks.io. That is fastchecks.io. Thank you for the sponsor. Appreciate you, Fast Checks.
Yeah, thank you, Fast Checks. We use them every day. We're printing checks here every day for customers, e-checks. And it'd be interesting to speak to the folks over at Fast Checks to see if they would for their business model to have a presence at like the fun show, because all coin dealers receive checks from customers. And so why, if you're a coin dealer, why wait when you can just sign up for Fast Checks and have your customer give you their routing account and check number, print out the check, deposit at the bank, boom, done in a few seconds. Yeah,
No problem.
it's a
Yeah.
great service. Thank you, Fast Checks.
Yeah, Fast Checks. If you guys are listening, feel free to get a hold of us and let us know if you guys want to join the fun show this coming week. Let's see. All right, let's get into it. So, when it comes to like estate sales, stuff like that, like purchases, I know we touched about like obviously looking at like some of the coins, like making those decisions, and a little bit about like having too much money spread out. Like where's the line? Like obviously we probably don't have that as much as like a smaller dealer, but I guess let's like focus on like maybe a smaller dealer. You know, like they're getting into the business. They've made some good deals. You know, they don't have like a office yet or anything, but like, you know, what would be like some of their first purchases? Like, would it be better to buy like, you know, from the mint, you know, getting, you know, sending it off, maybe getting a mint state 70, or like purchasing like a small estate, or like going online and buying on eBay? Like, what is like the
Yeah.
best way to go?
Well, the first way is risky because there's no guarantee you're going to get 70s.
Yeah.
So if you go down that road, you know, you could really be out of pocket a good amount, and then have products that no one wants to buy because they're 59s. And so, you know, typically just starting out, you need to build relationships with larger dealers and buy
Mm.
from dealers wholesale.
Uh,
And there are dealers that do not deal with the public; they only sell to other dealers. And
mm,
so that's you know, but that takes time. And so when I first started in the very beginning, some of it was just finding really good deals on eBay,
mm,
and buying those coins and then selling them at a small profit, and then
mm,
just, you know, that just built over time, and then, you know, going to shows, meeting dealers, talking to people, you build relationships, a network, and then, you know, you start getting access to better coins, and then if you do it right in time, you get the best of the best, you know. But
mm,
that takes a little bit of time and effort. So you got to be careful, because you could, like, you know, for instance, a few months ago when metals, you know, gold was at almost 5,500, and
mm,
silver was hitting $120. You know, I had people here in my office saying, "Oh, you know, we got to buy, you know, more. Let's buy bullion. Let's buy. You know, it's just going to keep going up." You know, people
uh,
getting this fever pitch
mm,
because of, you know, the prices, the rallying, and, you know, the excitement that's involved with that. And me being, you know, I've been around the block a couple times. I was just like, nope, I'm not gonna. We're gonna buy a little bit, but we're
mhm,
going to see where things kind of settle. And, you know, I did buy some like 100-ounce bars and other things, at like $80, you know, $90 an ounce, which is fine, because to me, that's just, I don't care if they sit and collect dust, but that's a trap that, an inexperienced dealer could get involved in, can fall into,
mm,
where all of a sudden, you know, you buy a bunch of products, and now, you know, especially bullion, you know, we've talked about it a million times, where the coins that we sell are literally, you know, there's a built-in hedge,
mhm,
because you have the rarity, and the low population, and the, you know, it's the finest specimen.
mhm,
So, you know, even though silver has dropped dramatically from that 120, it's still up dramatically year over year.
mm,
And so you really have to weigh those options. But it's very easy to buy too much, and then if you don't have the customer base too, you know, you need a customer base to sell to. And, you know, I know that a lot of, I see, I don't know if I would even call them dealers. I think they're just, I guess they are dealers, but you see a lot of the people that are now online, that are, they're just hawking coins, whether it's through Whatnot, or, you know, eBay
mm,
Live, and I see the prices that a lot of these coins sell at, and I don't know how they're making money,
mm,
because a lot of this stuff is just selling for below fair market value. So either they have a network, of some sort, where they're able to source and purchase the products from the public at, like, you know, a very cheap rate. Maybe they work with some pawn shops. Pawn shops are notorious for giving you, like, you know, pennies on the dollar for
mm,
your, you know, you could go in there with a, a nice, 1 ounce, you know, graded, gold buffalo, proof 70, and they're going to give you, you know, let's say it's, you know, advanced release gold buffalo, with signature, they're not going to care about that. They're just going to give you like half, if you're lucky, of what the gold value is worth.
Oh,
And then,
wow.
and so maybe that's where they get some coins. Maybe maybe the people that are on these things that I see are pawn dealers, and that's just a way for them to unload, inventory, which is great for them if they, hey, you have to move product at the end of the day. You have to have the customer base to move the product. So I think that it's a double-edged sword with online sales. It's a great way to get new customers, and we do get a lot of customers through our online platforms, like let's say like eBay. Um, but on the flip side of that, um, I also see that it gets commoditized, where if you're just selling generic like MS-70 Eagles, whether they're gold Eagles or silver Eagles, and you don't have something that makes them special, like advanced release, with a certain signature, the price, it's just the dealers are chiseling each other, and now they're working at margins that are just, I don't know how they work on those margins unless they're just doing it out of their house with no overhead, where I literally see them making like 3% on product,
Wow.
which is crazy to me. Like, everyone's in business to make money. Everyone knows that anyone in business is in business to make money. And so, yeah, so that's why years ago, I decided that we were only going to sell the best product and be known for that. And then it's worked.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to sell the coins once people, if they know what they're buying, they know, I'm here to facilitate that in that sense and give them good customer service. But like these buyers, when they know what they're buying, they want to pull the trigger on it basically. So what we have is very quality, and a lot of times I'm the only one selling that item on eBay. Like there's nobody else. There's like maybe the Jesse guy and a couple other people, but very seldom. Like especially
Yeah.
anything that's coming out of the mint right now. Like it's just that's it. We're it basically. So yeah, no, that really is definitely shows kind of like separating the pack with the products and coins. But yeah, I've seen some coins sell for really low, and I always felt like if you're gonna sell coins on whatnot, some of these lower tier coins, I guess to say, um, would sell for a lot of the people that watch. I don't know if they actually value the coins, or if it's just by the bullion price, comparison.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and I've gotten mixed reviews from people selling, other stuff too, and yeah, sometimes they're at cost, and they're working really hard to send all these packages, and sometimes it's not worth it. So I
Yeah.
think yeah, just having the right channels and distribution to know what kind of customers you're looking for, the demographic. It might take a little bit longer sometimes, but sometimes they already know. You already have the client base that are just like, yeah, I already know what I want before even showed up. It's not even at mint. Yeah, so it's like it's just knowing that there's different types of people that you're working with. And yeah, that's how it was with the e-commerce. If you have lower tier products, you're going to get a lower tier type of customer essentially, and you're going to have higher tier products, you're going to have a higher tier customer essentially. So like dealing with different types of people depending on what you're selling, essentially you're going to get that type of like interaction. So yeah, you're going to sell things under cost, under market, like yeah, people are going to buy it, but at that point you're just like fighting for the common denomination, common zero essentially at that point, where we're
Yeah.
selling products like what does it take to get to that point? Like obviously capital, being that you have that conviction, like you have a distribution channel, you have clients already? Like, where was like that kind of point where you're like, okay, I can get, when I get an office, I know this, everything can be paid for or covered, or what are some of the hurdles, I guess to say, for a smaller dealer becoming a bigger dealer?
Well, yeah, I mean that there's a lot of variables right there, but
Right.
there's an equilibrium that you have to take into account where you know that your sales and that future sales is going to be enough to cover the expenses, because once you have an office, your expenses go dramatically up, as opposed to doing it from your house. One of the benefits of having an office, though, even if it's a small office, is that buying from the public. And if you have an estate, a large collection of coins, a valuable collection of coins, you go to someone's house, right? They say, "Oh, come to my house with them." That's I wouldn't do that, right? Like I would think I'm going to get robbed or something.
Yeah.
As opposed to, okay, I come to your office, you have a nice office. It's just the whole dynamic is different. But to answer your question, it's a matter of having the customer base that will allow you to afford those expenses. And
Mhm.
it takes time to build a good customer base. It takes time to build customers that become repeat clients, all that. And then, of course, doing it solo, there's only so many hours in a day. So aside from running your business, you also have to sell, right? So you're wearing multiple hats, and any business owner knows this. If you're a sole proprietor, you're wearing tons. You're an accountant, you're a bookkeeper, you're a office manager. I'm not an office manager, but you're a business manager. You're a payables manager, receivables manager. You're doing all these different things, and so um, having certain skill sets really set you apart. And the major skill set is having a really high end selling ability,
Mm.
being able to sell products, being able to tell a story, and to for the most part, when people buy coins, no one, for the most part, ever, when you call even long-term customers on the phone, a lot of times
Mm.
it's just no, like no, I can't right now. And I think a lot of times that's a knee-jerk reaction from the customer, because we're not the only ones calling them. They're getting calls possibly about other investments,
Mm.
private placements, real estate, you name it. So you can't, you have to think, what are you going to do that's going to put you above all these other people that are calling them, because you're not the only one. So having sales ability is what that takes. I always say, and I've said this forever, and I don't know over the years how many people I've hired, not only through this business but my other businesses.
Mm.
um, there's order takers and there's salespeople. So the difference between the two, everyone, on their resume, when if very rarely I put out to hire, but when we do, I get a lot of responses. And everyone, especially when I meet them or talk to them, oh yeah, I'm I can sell, I sell, but do you close? Are you able to close? And
Mm.
closing is telling, not only telling the story, but being able to use your words to show that individual that you're speaking with, the customer or potential customer,
Mm.
why this benefits them, right? um, Not many people can do that, and that's why there's the people that make money in sales are the closers, and the people that don't make money in sales are the order takers. So if you have that, some people have that ability naturally, some people have to learn it, and it can be learned. uh, but that's really the difference, the main difference of what's going to turn a dealer into someone who's successful or not so successful. But I'm talking about at least when I'm starting out decades ago.
Hmm.
Nowadays, if a dealer's starting out, you have social media and you have the internet to help out. But a serious customer, someone who really takes collecting and investing in coins seriously,
Hmm.
is going to want to speak with you, is going to want to meet you at some point.
Hmm.
And so online sales exclusively are only going to get you so far, because again, unless you have exceptional product like we do here at American Coin,
Hmm.
you're basically, it's become commoditized. So you're just now competing on price with all the other people that are doing the same thing you are. And so if you, especially online, because you're not having a verbal conversation with that person where you can tell the story, where you can, you know, explain the benefits to the customer why they should own this piece or pieces of product, and so that's really the difference there.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like, yeah, I always go like, I think like people, it's really not that hard to sell things, but I guess that is like, it is difficult for some people. I mean, to get on a phone or even, yeah, have any interaction with somebody. I'm like, where is this world going to? I guess we're all recluse. I mean, not all of us, but like a lot of people are recluse. They use online presences to kind of create a, uh, I guess like a character or something, and then when it comes to having to deal with like the real world, like, yeah, I mean, you're gonna have to talk to somebody at some point. Um,
I can't tell you, Dustin, how many times I've seen grown adults, like people in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s,
hmm,
sit there and just stare at the phone, just so scared to pick up that phone and make a call to, with some leads in front of them to call and try to sell whatever the product might be. It
oh,
it, it amazes me that the people, they're petrified. Just like people are a lot of people are scared of or have a fear of speaking in public. It's the
yeah,
same thing with people that are just, they'll make every excuse on why they, oh, I'm learning the information some more. I need to do some more research. I need to do this. I need to do that. No, you got to jump in the water. You have to just jump in the deep end. And you know what? You're gonna hear a lot of no's, you're gonna mess up, you're gonna
yeah,
fail. That's just excuse me. That's just part of the learning experience. And any good
mm,
salesperson will tell you that. I mean, no one starts out as an all-star. Nobody. It takes learning, and there are certain formulas that will help to get more sales out of your customers,
mm,
which I won't go into because they're kind of trade secrets, I like to
yeah,
say. But yeah, it's never ceased to amaze me. I mean, I've had people come in, and I had the biggest hope, like, wow, this person's, they're gonna, I'm really gonna try to groom this person. I'm gonna really teach them the ins
mm,
and outs of how this works. And
right.
then they go out to lunch and they never show back. They never come back. that that happened. Or they say, "Oh, I'm going to the bathroom," like a half hour.
Seriously?
Oh
Oh
my god, yeah, like
my
a half
god!
hour after they show up for their first day. Oh, I got to
Wow!
go to the bathroom, and then they leave, and that you don't hear from them again. That's happened hundreds of times over the years.
Wow! Yeah,
Yeah,
I've always like my early years. I was like, I did telemarketing, and I don't know. I was just really good at it. I mean, I didn't do it for long, but I was really good at like just doing cold calls and be like, hey, you want to do a credit card check balance and transfer your
yeah,
funds, and yeah, it's just, I don't know. You just talk to people. They're normal. Everybody has things going on in their lives, and there's a lot of similarities. Um, it's not that hard to talk to people, really. I mean, I was thinking when we were talking, you're saying about how people are good at sales. Like, I see some correlation with maybe males are like good with talking to women. How they're able to talk to women in general. Like, I'm sure there's a huge correlation to that. Like, I've been personally blessed in that sense. I'm able to be around women and talk to them. But just in people in general, like I know, especially in sales, like knowing what your customer, like what, do a little bit of digging, do a little bit of research, but don't get stuck at the research. And another thing for me when you said about public speaking was I did karaoke. And that to me was a way for me to
Yeah.
like really like kind of step into like a place where I wasn't as comfortable. And I did that in my 20s and that helped me a lot with public speaking. Um, it helped me with podcasts. And
Yep.
another thing is jumping on podcasts, having some input, having some conviction with, what you have to say. Those are really good at talking to people, especially when they're telling you no, or they're telling you this is incorrect and this is how their thought process is like, and being like, yo, this is what I have learned, or what, just having some, conviction on something, that's going to really kind of push you forward. And then like,
Absolutely. If you
yeah,
believe in what you with the product you're offering, no matter what it is,
yeah,
it's just
whatever. Yeah.
it comes across on the telephone
Mhm.
or on a video conference call or whatever it may be. It absolutely comes across. Is that there's that little area in between comfort and uncomfortability. You know where I'm talking about, where
Yeah.
that's that little space. That's where you grow. That's
Mhm.
where you develop. And a lot of people don't like to feel uncomfortable. A lot of people just they hate that feeling. They'll do everything they can to avoid that feeling of being uncomfortable in whatever it might be. But that's where you grow. And if you never get into that area and then get to the next uncomfortable spot, you're always going to be stuck where
Yeah.
you're never going to develop, you're never going to grow, and you're probably not going to be successful. You have to constantly push and push and push and develop yourself. And like you said with karaoke, that's a great way. I was thinking about doing stand-up comedy years
Me
back because
too. Yeah. Me too.
I
That's my
just
next
wanted
thing.
to get
Yep.
up on stage and
Yep.
expose myself to the world and just what better way to just develop a suit of armor. You
Yeah.
have to have thick skin in any kind of business that involves sales. You have to have thick skin. If you don't
Mhm.
have thick skin, if you can't take no's, then you got to find something else to do. But I'll tell you, like I tell my coworkers here at the office all the time, we're fortunate that we're in a business that who knows what's going to happen with AI and with
Mhm.
it taking over jobs. Of course, it's going to take over some jobs. Paralegals,
Yeah.
some coding, other research, things like that nature. But it's never going to take over if what we do for a living here. Like the
Mhm.
people that work with me here, they're insulated from that potential takeover of AI because AI is not going to hop on the phone with a customer and have a conversation about a coin and tell a story and then pretty much convince the customer why they need to have this in their collection and why it benefits them in the long term.
Mhm.
So it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I had a conversation about with my one of my clients. I was telling them about like, how I'm using the EI agent to do like, some marketing stuff and here and there. But like when it comes to like the financial aspect, it's still like super early, I can make those decisions. Where,
Yeah.
if it was like sending a wire transfer, ACH payments and stuff like that, like it could essentially do that. But like I would be like at a very small scale, like under $1,000 or under 500 or something, to just kind of test the waters. What was it able to do? I mean, essentially, it can do that, but yeah, exactly what you're saying. Like installation is like having a physical coin, and having that conversation attached to it and connecting with your clients. Like it's a huge misstep for like AI. Like AI could never take that place. Like that's what
No.
keeps us like in this like physical digital world what we have is like at the end of the day, like we still live in a physical world. Like, our object is to be, one safe, but also having those kind of safeguards. If it's wealth, if it's having insulation from inflation, stuff like that. Like those are still affected to us in our day to day basis in comparison to having AI control things in the background and make our lives a bit easier in different ways. But it can still never take up the space of being a physical object. Like you can,
Yeah.
so yeah, for that reason, I totally agree. That is 100% like no way. Still even that like the molecular or the physical silver or physical gold, like that is necessary for these AI, a sentient beings, essentially to run. So at the end of the
Yeah.
day, it's like powering the Tesla to run the Tesla, but you still need to get power. There's still like, where do you get the power? Is it going to be a battery bank from the sun? You still need metals. You still need
Yeah.
minerals to create it. You still need gas and oil to produce these, machines that produce the coin. It's like it's still there regardless. So at the end of the day, coins are going to always be there. There's going to be some collector aspect in that sense. So yeah, I feel that 100%. Um, but yeah, here we're at the end of this episode. We have a bunch of responses and questions. We've got a response from Kevin. Good afternoon from Lakeland, Florida. Thanks for joining us, Kevin from Lakeland.
No, good afternoon. Lakeland, Florida, the home of Publix.
Publix, yeah, nice.
Yeah, sorry, Lakeland.
Yeah, great episode for small coin dealers. Appreciate that. Good afternoon from Pro.
Good afternoon.
Let's see, got another good morning. We are live. Appreciate it. Let's see what we got here. Have you ever found a coin worth more than expected?
All the time.
All the time, I'm sure. Yeah, that's a for sure. Let's see. Would you rather collect gold or silver? We've had this question before, but
Yeah, I mean, boy, I like them both, but it depends on what your need. It depends on what your ultimate the goal of owning it is.
true.
Gold is nice because a small amount, like I was saying earlier, all that junk silver that I have, that takes up a ton of space. If you have a few hundred pounds of silver, you need some big safes for that, right? Where all that silver is the equivalent of a small bag of gold 1 ounce coins. So I love gold though. I love gold. I'm drawn to gold. There's something about gold that pulls me. It does something to my heart. I understand gold lust. I understand, that just draw to it, that people have had throughout millennia.
Yeah. Okay. That's valid. Yeah. Gold is it's a lot easier to carry. How do you source your coins?
Oh, numerous ways. I mean, we already have our network set up like we discussed earlier, which has taken years and years. But we also source coins. I'm on eBay every day. I know you are too. We're looking at coins on eBay. There's other online platforms, and so and just other, there's wholesale dealers, like I said earlier, that only deal to other dealers. So there's various ways to source coins.
Yeah, there's depends on how much capital you have, essentially.
Yep.
All right. Do you have to go to school to learn to buy coins?
This is an interesting thing that we have. I think we brought it up in our last meeting where I was mentioning how there's it seems like there's more people getting into this business, especially online, because the entry bar is so low. That's if like you're going to be selling like rolls. Rolls is like that's what it seems like a lot of people get into in the very beginning because it's just simple. A lot of scammers sell rolls. They
Yeah.
overcharge. They get people set up. Let me get you. Let's say like with peace dollars, we'll get you. The 1922, and then they'll get try to fill out each year, and they'll tell them, well, once we have the full collection, we'll have a buyer lined up, and the full if
Oh,
you have every year and every mint mark, it's going to be worth so much more. So let's continue doing this, and then after they overpay at the end of the day, all of a sudden that buyer that they had whenever time ago is no longer there, and now they're stuck with, all these roles that they overpaid for.
yeah. Yeah, I remember that analogy that you mentioned. Yeah, that's. I mean, I can see that happening. Yeah.
But to the point, I think that there should be. I think that I would like to see more of a higher bar, a higher standard to getting into the industry, some kind of licensing
Yeah.
above and beyond what's currently there. And that would just be good for the industry as a whole, because right now, like I said, there's scammers that set up shop, and they scam people on rolls, and it's bad for the whole industry.
Mm, yeah, I'm working on something. That's for sure. Yeah, if you guys haven't checked out ANA, there's American Numismatics Association. You guys can do a little bit more research with them. I can leave that in the chat. Let's see. I think it's at money.org, right?
Money.org, yeah.
Yeah, money.org. So I'll leave that in the chat here, guys. So check that out. All right, let's see. We got a couple more just comments here. Quentin here early, excited to watch today's episode. Appreciate you being here every week. And we got last one here. Accurate Coins. Good afternoon, everyone. Be sure to like and subscribe. Yeah, be sure to like and subscribe, everybody. We're here every week, every Thursday. Next week we have we have a panel with the education director from ANA. We have returning guests with Christian Strayhorn, and we have both Davids Donahue and I'm blanking on the other one.
David LeBlanc, David Donahue,
LeBlanc.
and Christian Strayhorn.
Yeah, Christian Strayhorn, and we have our previous guest that wasn't on the panel, Christopher Bullfinch. He's from Doyle, so
sweet,
yeah,
sweet.
yeah, he'll be joining us as
Be
well.
great.
Yeah, so I figure we kind of have like a good kind of broad spectrum from appraisers to education to coin album creator. Yeah, David Donahue. But yeah, so we kind of have like a broad spectrum, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, join us next week, July 16th at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. Be sure to like and subscribe, and yeah, give us a call 561-310-8341 uniquecoins@gmail.com. Check us out, eBay, Google, Yelp, Apple. We have some really cool products you guys haven't seen on our X. I believe it's been showing up on LinkedIn as well as Facebook. I've been posting all our eBay products that we have, as well as what's going on right now for pre-sale. We have the 10-piece. We have the pieces in Morgan. Those are available for pre-sale. Do we have the 10-piece in-house?
Yes.
Okay, so we have that in-house, and then Morgan and Peace, we have that on pre-sale. So set those orders. Those are probably going to fly off the shelf or have people are interested. So definitely get a hold of us. And then there's some products that we have. I think, do we still have the gold set? I think we had one left.
Yeah, I think we have a couple gold sets left. The 4-coin gold sets.
4-point gold set. Yeah.
I believe we have a couple Mercury dime sets, and then today I'm going to be putting in an order for the best of the mint, the 1916 Standing Liberty.
Oof.
$quarter set, which is it's nice. Anyone, it'll be nice to own each one of those this year, all 5 of the series.
Yeah, definitely put in those orders. Give us a call, 561-310-8341. You need coins at gmail.com. We will have these coins in house fairly soon, but it's going to take some time. But definitely put in some pre orders. I think we're going to have the Morgan and Peace by the end of the month.
Yeah, the Morgan and Peace are coming out on what's today, the 8th. Today, actually, they're being released.
They're released today, yeah.
You know, and I'll tell you again, I mean, these are 170, let's say 173 each. So, you know, in the past from the mint, they were significantly cheaper. Last year, I think it was around that price for both pieces. This year, the mint, the prices have really gone up. But these Morgan and Peace, this is the first time since 2021 that they come with a privy mark.
Wow.
For this year, and they're also dual dated, which is the first time.
I do realize something about these women.
Sorry. Yeah, there's a huge difference for sure.
Good stuff.
There's a lot of value. This year in coins, and yeah, there's a little bit of increase in value and then the prices, but like, I mean, there's no privy, 250th anniversary and dual dates. Like, this is a crazy year, for anyone that's a collector. Definitely want to get your hands on these coins, especially at this, these specific designations and signatures. Like, yeah, you can't. I've yet to find products similar to ours. It's very few. Yeah, so yeah, if you want the best of the best, give it a hold of us, and we will definitely get you set up for sure. So 561-310-8341. Get a hold of John, and yeah. All right,
we'll take care of you.
Yeah, we'll definitely take care of you. Yeah, customer service bar none. I haven't seen anybody work as hard as us. Connect with our clients, make sure that they're, just talking to them, make sure they're good, make sure that we have the right things for them. So yeah, I'm always on the phone with people that I've worked with. So I'm always like, hey, what's going on? Of course, you guys are looking for something, definitely let me know. And letting them know when we got stuff coming in too. So it goes hand in hand. But yeah, so end of the show, busy guy. I know lack of staff this week. So final words, what's going on with you? Anything to look forward to here?
Just I'm looking forward to these releases, and actually next Thursday when we have our show, that's the day that the Liberty Bells are being released. So between now and then, I need to figure out what quantities we're going to be looking. Because again, I mean, like I said, that 1 ounce, those are probably going to be in the $25,000 range, if not more.
What?
Per piece, you don't want to get stuck with too many of those. I would say they're going to be probably around 30.
Oh,
30 grand. So, that. But again, I might get one for myself. That I was saying I might sell some bullion and get just one of those, because I really think it's a denominational piece. It's a $250 coin.
Wow.
It's not a coin, but it's a 200. It's a denominational piece. It's from the U.S. Mint. It's worth $250. So you could literally go to a bank with that and get $250. Now, obviously, you wouldn't do that, but I think that is wildly cool. That's the first time in my memory, and I could be wrong. And if anyone knows better, please let us know. But I can't think of any other U.S. minted gold pieces that had a denominational value of $250.
No.
That's the first.
I've not seen that. That's so they're going to be worth a lot. Yeah, of course. I mean, we're selling the gold pieces, the $50, the $100, the platinum. Was it platinum? I mean, those are the platinum was like 4. The gold piece was 18. K. I mean, you can only imagine what 250 looks like. Like 25 or 30. can only
Yeah.
assume.
Like I said, there's one on eBay for 70,000 right now.
70,000. Yeah, so 30
Yeah.
30 is a discount. Okay.
Yeah, and ours will be graded. The one they're offering is raw.
Raw for 70. What the hell? I gotta look at that listing.
Check it out.
Yeah, exciting week. We got the fun show. So if you guys are out there in is it Orlando?
Yep.
Orlando, come say hi to us. Fast checks, you guys are out there. Definitely, if you guys want to show up or give us some material to present as well, we can do that. And yeah, you guys check us out. We got a bunch of stuff coming out for eBay. Things that we're selling that are exclusive that we're selling. So call us directly 5613108341. You can get a hold of us, and yeah, definitely tune in for next week, July 16th at 1 p.m. Eastern. And I'm looking forward to having everyone join us. Be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Have a great weekend.
See ya.
See you.